morning, good morning, good morning. It is a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. Let's change this color up a minute real quick. There we go. I'm Gene. I'm here to talk to you about some coffee and sports. We're going to have some conversations this week. By myself, Mo could join, Chris could join. Who knows? Another Monday morning in which I don't know, communication's been poor. I haven't really had the greatest response, but that's okay. We have a responsibility, and we are live here on Coffee and Sports in the Morning. Got a couple football games that happened yesterday that were huge deals. WNBA trade that happened that shocked the world. Kelsey Plum on the move. Jewell Loyd on the move. WNBA's got big news going on right now. That happened in the middle of Championship Sunday. It's actually kind of wild. But Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, you have your Super Bowl now. Eagles, Chiefs. Bills, Chiefs last night, great football game. Another classic. And another situation in which the Buffalo Bills just couldn't find a way to win the football game. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how the Buffalo Bills just came up a little short again. Now, there was a lot of things that led to that, right? And I'm fully prepared to have discussions on all of those things. Fully prepared to have discussions on everything that happened in that Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs game. From the fourth down to the, I guess, complete pass that happened from the referees. I feel like that, you know, I make this comparison constantly, and I want to be clear when I say this. I make this comparison because I think it fits. In boxing, especially 15, 20 years ago when I was growing up, in boxing, in order to be the champion, you had to beat the champion, which means you had to knock the champion out, which means you had to take his head off, or you had to make it so decisive on the scoreboard that there was no doubt, that there was nothing that could be done, right? Nothing that could be done. In the NFL, it kind of feels like to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to beat the champ, right? To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And if we're completely being honest here, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. The Houston Texans last week did not get the benefit of the doubt. Now, if we're going to be clear, I don't think if they got the benefit of the doubt or not, I still think the Chiefs find a way to win that football game. Yesterday, the Buffalo Bills did not get the benefit of the doubt. The Buffalo Bills, now, would they have won the football game if they did? I don't know. And that's kind of where I'm at here, right? Like today, like if that fourth down conversion in which the Chiefs, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Dawson Knox had the first down on the third down play. I thought that was a bad spot to begin with. You take it a step further on the fourth down, I don't think there was any doubt in my mind that Josh Allen passed the line of scrimmage. So here's where I'm at, right? You're not going to get the benefit. You're going to have to beat them. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you want to stop Taylor Swift and you want to stop the three-peat and Magic Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, can't win the game. You can't win the game by 1 point. You can't win the game by one possession. You can't win the game just by yourself. Can't do it. You have to take the game to them. Now, here's my argument for Kansas City, if you're a Chiefs fan. Here's my argument for Chiefs Kingdom, right? This is the same thing you used to get with the Patriots, with Spygate, with the Flakegate. They're cheating. There's always, the refs are always in their pocket. The Kansas City Chiefs take advantage of every opportunity that's given to them. And if I'm a Chiefs fan, the thing I'm yelling the loudest today is, okay, well, let's just say you're right, Gene. Let's just say they got the first down. Let's just say that wasn't ruled a completion. Did the Buffalo Bills have the football with a chance to win the game with 2 minutes left? The answer is yes. The Buffalo Bills had the football with a chance to win the football game. 2 minutes left on the clock. Buffalo's driving. Got to give Steve Spagnuolo credit. You got to give the Chiefs credit for that. You have to give them credit for calling up the blitzes, designing, a cornerback blitz. They disguise their blitzes better than any team in football. You have to give credit where credit is due. They got the stop. And Buffalo can really only blame themselves. If you don't win enough to get the game in Buffalo, if you don't beat the champion, if you don't go out there and handle business, guess what? You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And I got news for you. I don't even know who the officiating crew calling the Super Bowl is. The Philadelphia Eagles 100% have to understand that. You cannot just go into this football game and hope that, if we just play a little bit better than them. Nope. In order to stop this three-peat, you have to beat the champion. It's old school boxing. You can't win 7-5 on the scorecards. If you want to take this to the scorecards, if you want to take this game to the fourth quarter, you got to win decisively. If Mahomes has the ball with set down 7 and more than a minute, you didn't do your job. You didn't handle business. And that's what needs to be clear to anyone out there. The Buffalo Bills had the opportunities yesterday. Sean McDermott normally does a great job, and he's a very good defensive coordinator. I don't know why you don't have a better containment on the outside. Am I the only one that was screaming at my TV like, you have to contain Patrick Mahomes? You have to maintain your gap integrity. You have to make sure he does not run for a first down. On that fourth down, when they rushed to the line, did anyone in the world think that anyone was going to be touching that ball outside Patrick Mahomes? I mean, that's a huge play. It's 10-7 Buffalo. They're on their own 38-yard line. It's 4th down and 1. They call a timeout. You have a timeout to prepare for what's going to happen. Did anyone in the world truly believe they were going to hand that ball up the middle? I didn't. And I don't understand what McDermott or that defensive coordinator is thinking in that scenario. What are the Buffalo Bills thinking in that scenario? How in the world do you come out of a timeout and say, well, we got to protect the middle? The Chiefs do not quarterback sneak. They quarterback sneaked 2 years ago. Patrick Mahomes hurt his knee. They don't do it no more. And if they do it, they do it with Kelce. So if you see Kelce get under center, fine. Understood. But there was no way in a play that important. Just like on the third down. Third down, the game on the line. You got 2 stops, the game on the line. You're playing man defense and let the running back slip on a pass-catching running back, slip on a linebacker? Guys, you have to be better than this. I'm not a fan of sticks defense. I'm not. But if I'm Buffalo, I'm rushing 4 and I'm putting 6 guys on that line of scrimmage, on that first down marker. That's your only chance. You have the opportunity to stop them, and you didn't. And that's the problem with the Buffalo Bills this morning. Here's the truth. Did they get any benefits? No. Josh Allen had the first down. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Did they get anything that went their way? No. That ball was not a catch. And I know you know what I'm talking about. The simultaneous catch that happened at the 3-yard line where the ball hit the ground. Tony Romo was talking about it. I don't know how you looked at that play. You didn't see the ball move when it hit the ground. It was not a catch by Xavier Worthy. You're not going to get the benefit. You're not. You're not going to get the benefit when you play the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's old school boxing mentality. You have to win by knockout. And if you don't win by knockout, it better be 9-3 on the judges' scorecards. You cannot leave this to doubt. You cannot leave this to chance. Can't do it. Can't do it. Kansas City is in another Super Bowl now. And they have every opportunity to three-peat. And with Andy Reid is one of the best offensive minds in the game, and Steve Spagnuolo's defense this year, last year, what they've been able to accomplish, it is a tall task. It is a tall order. Now let's talk about what that would mean to Philadelphia. We'll get into the Philadelphia Eagles game versus the Commanders in a second. But this was something I thought about last night. If the Eagles find a way to win Super Bowl 59, if the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think have the better roster, who I think have the better team, win Super Bowl 59, their 2 Super Bowl wins in their franchise history will be against the greatest 2 quarterbacks to ever play the game when it's all said and done, and the greatest 2 coaches to ever coach the game when it's all said and done. Mahomes, Brady, Belichick, Reid. That's a tall order. That's fun. That's what you get to accomplish. Now, we had another football game that happened. We had to start with the main event. The main event of the evening was Kansas City Buffalo. Once again, always was. And I'll give Josh Allen credit, man. He has, if you look up his stats, touchdown to interception ratio, what he's done throughout the playoffs, Josh Allen undoubtedly is the 3rd best quarterback in football to me. It goes Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson. I think that's the only way you can order them right now. I could hear an argument for Allen over Burrow. I can no longer hear an argument for Jackson over Allen after yesterday's football game. The throw he made on 4th and 5 that Dalton Kincaid had and hit him in both hands. The throw that he makes on 4th and 5. Incredible. Incredible. Kincaid's got to catch that football. Buffalo has to hang their hat on. We had the opportunities and we failed. I don't know what Buffalo was thinking. Great blitz by Kansas City, but you have to run max protect versus this Kansas City Chiefs team. They're going to blitz. Derek Dempsey, you got to catch that. I agree. They're going to blitz often. They're going to bring exotic pressures. The Philadelphia Eagles better be prepared for blitz protection because Jalen Hurts is 37 out of 37 qualified quarterbacks at EPA on blitzes, except at passing attempts. The Chiefs are going to walk into the Super Bowl saying, you are not going to beat us by running the football. And unlike the Commanders, they can do that. Their defense can take that away from you. Jalen is going to have to play like he did yesterday. Jalen is going to have to put the Superman cape on. Let's talk about yesterday's football game. Let's talk about the Commanders. Talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday's football game was it was indicative of what I expect. I've told you all week. I told you all week. I told you on sideline to sideline. I told you on wire to wire. I told you on Birds Deep. I told you on Coffee and Sports in the Morning. Jalen Hurts will win this football game. Saquon played great. First play of the game, 60-yard touchdown. Amazing. He's the best player in football. Best player in football. But the Commanders 100% stacked the box, loaded the box, 8-9 guys, and did everything they could to take away the run. Saquon ran well. The Eagles ran well. It's 7 rushing touchdowns. But the reason that they were able to run the ball so effectively is because Jalen made it work with the passing game. Let's talk about 4th and 5. Big part of the game. 14-12. The Commanders get right back in this football game. 4th and 5. And the Eagles go for it on the 43-yard line. And Jalen Hurts drops an absolute dime over the shoulder to A.J. Brown. The Commanders were fully prepared, and you've seen it, man-to-man coverage, Marshawn Lattimore on A.J. Brown. They were man-to-man across the board. You're not going to beat us in the box. You're not going to beat us 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to make a play to get this first down. And the Philadelphia Eagles did. They did. They made a play to get that first down. Perfect pass by Jalen Hurts. All week leading up to this football game, Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT, and Josh Allen is Superman, and Jaden Daniels is the greatest rookie we've ever seen. Rex Ryan went on TV and said, well, there's no way if Saquon Barkley doesn't have a game that the Eagles are winning this game. Jalen Hurts cannot throw you into the Super Bowl. I have to disagree with Rex. As much as I love Rex Ryan, I got to disagree with him. Because you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles did yesterday, it wasn't the run setting up the pass. It wasn't the pass setting up the run. It was a balanced attack. Now, granted, at the end of the football game, obviously the Eagles ran the ball a little bit more often, protecting the lead. But if we look at the box score, Jalen Hurts had 28 dropbacks, and at least 3 of his rushing attempts were dropbacks. So 31 dropbacks, 2 sacks, so 33 dropbacks, 33 rushing attempts. Now, 2 of them were Kenny Pickett kneeling, so we'll say 31 rushing attempts. But the Philadelphia Eagles dropped back to throw the ball 2 more times than they called the design run. I'm going to repeat that to you guys so you understand. The Philadelphia Eagles dropped back to throw the ball 2 more times than they ran it. Now, running the ball at 6.4 yards per carry. If you take out Kenny Pickett's 2 kneels from -3 yards, it gets closer to 7. Running the ball for 7 offensive touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns. I don't know. It's an anomaly. It's awesome to watch. It was incredible to see. 7 rushing touchdowns. Jalen had 3 with Tush Push and the QB draw. Saquon had 3, and Will Shipley had 1, who, by the way, broke a 57-yard run, which was one of the funniest things ever. He's covering the ball. He's out of gas at the end of that run, and it was funny to watch. But the Eagles absolutely gashed the Commanders' defense. 36 rushing attempts, and really 34. Let's say 34 rushing attempts for 232 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. They ran the ball to Dallas Goedert twice. Great plays. You want to talk about guys that showed up yesterday for Philadelphia? A.J. Brown. 6 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert. 7 receptions on 8 targets for 85 yards. 2 rushing attempts for another 13 yards. He had 100 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions on 4 targets. And that defense, man, that defense is different. They are a group that punches the ball out. They look for the turnover. Cooper DeJean played out of his mind yesterday. And it won't show up in the stat sheet, right? It won't show up in the I don't even think he got credited for the forced fumble. No, Zach Bond did. Cooper DeJean 100% caused that fumble. Zach Bond came in and punched at the ball. That's not, if you watch the replay, that's not what led to that ball being punched out. Cooper DeJean stops Dyami Brown on a very good designed screen pass for the Commanders. Awesome design play. And guess what? He holds him. Zach Bond punches, and when Dyami Brown kind of tries to pull the football down away from the punch, Cooper DeJean taps it out. Cooper DeJean was awesome yesterday, but it won't show up in the stat sheet. It won't. You know what else won't show up in the stat sheet? How good Nolan Smith has been. 1 sack, 1 TFL, 1 quarterback hit, 4 tackles. Nolan Smith, outside of that sack, was incredible at containing the edge. Containing the edge is so important in the NFL right now, especially with quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Containing the edge is going to matter in the Super Bowl. Nolan Smith did that perfectly. Did it beautifully. Jalix Hunt, rookie. Give Howie Roseman his credit, man. Oren Burks, Defensive Player of the Year nominee. Saquon Barkley, MVP finalist. Offensive Player of the Year favorite. Vic Fangio, #1 defense in football. Cooper DeJean, Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. Quinyon Mitchell, Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. Jalix Hunt, 3rd round draft. He wasn't supposed to play this year. They found him in the 4th round. They're like, yeah, he's a development project. He's out of I'm not kidding with you. Anybody in the chat want to tell me where Jalix Hunt went to college? Seriously, I want you to try to tell me where he went to college. Because I've never heard of them until the Eagles drafted him. 94th overall pick. He started college as a safety and a track athlete at Cornell. Dude, I'm not kidding with you. He was a safety at Cornell. Now, I knew Cornell was a university. You know who I didn't know was a university? Houston Christian University, HCU. Have you ever heard of that? Howie Roseman's finding converted safeties from Cornell that went to Houston Christian University. Like, what? And that guy made plays yesterday. He made plays in the NFC Championship game. A rookie. And that rookie was in for... Which, by the way, guys, I don't mean to be this guy, and I am obviously an Eagles fan, right? Like, I'm obviously a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but I don't mean to be this guy. But it's expected that Brandon Graham will be activated from injured reserve today, and he's expected to play in the Super Bowl. We talk about the three-peat of the Kansas City Chiefs all the time. What kind of storybook ending would that be for Brandon Graham? His final season, best game that he's played this entire year was versus the Rams, and he tears his bicep. And if you don't know Brandon Graham, like if you've not listened to Brandon Graham, if you've not listened to him, or understand who the type of person he is, by the way, he's the Eagles nominee for Man of the Year. He is one of the greatest human beings you'll ever meet in your life. A defensive end out of Michigan that was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, and his first 2-3 years here, we all complained that he wasn't Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas was taken with the next pick. Greatest attitude, always a smile on his face, locker room leader, never drama surrounding him, except when he accidentally said AJ and Jalen aren't friends anymore, which is obviously an accident. If you know Brandon, he's a really super nice guy. He was also the guy to congratulate at Wire to Wire on hitting our 1-year anniversary sent him a couple messages, man. Brandon Graham is just an incredible person. He will be activated off of the injured reserve and has a possibility to play in the Super Bowl. And then what else do you have to get to? What else do you have to come into? What else do we have to talk about? Saquon Barkley. And, I listen to Linda from National Streaming Sports, and she's awesome. Love Linda. And she said, can we stop hearing about how much the Giants have to regret not having Saquon Barkley? They wouldn't have been in the playoffs with Saquon Barkley anyway. Linda, I know you're listening. I know you listen on the Roku channel. And I want to say this directly to you. It's not about whether the Giants would have made the playoffs with Saquon. I understand most New York Giants fans are happy for Saquon. What it is the GM, the current GM. Now, if he's fired, all good. We let that go. The current GM was on television, on recording, saying, who's really going to pay a $12 million running back? This is Daniel Jones's year to shine. And Giants fans have to understand and have to be kicking themselves because what they look at every day, what they're looking at every single day is a guy that never had the ability to unlock his potential behind a New York Giants offensive line. Saquon's the best player in football. I didn't say running back. He's the best player in football. And not only is he the best player in football, he's an absolute diamond, an absolute gem of a teammate. Anybody else see Saquon Barkley racing down the sideline to congratulate Will Shipley after Shipley scores a touchdown? Anybody else see the video clip of Nick Sirianni saying, I want you to get your franchise best rushing record against the Giants? And he said, nah, let the young guys eat. Anybody else see the excitement Saquon Barkley has for Kenneth Gainwell whenever Gainwell gets in the game? Anybody else see the unselfishness of Saquon Barkley saying, it's for the team, I'll sit out, I won't chase the rushing record? That's a guy you overpay. But the organization of the New York Giants had already made the mistake of paying Daniel Jones. So they couldn't afford to pay both, right? When you put yourself in that type of hole, when you have that type of hole where you're paying a quarterback $45 million who's no longer on your roster, the GM's got to be fired. How he survived that is beyond me. I understand how Brian Daboll survives it. I don't understand how Joe Schoen survives it. I don't. I mean, we can just look back. Kayvon Thibodeau, surefire guy. He's supposed to be a Hall of Fame pipe. He's a bust. I mean, he's not a full bust yet, but for where he was drafted, for what he does, he's a bust. Evan Neal's a definite bust. And yes, he went out and drafted Malik Nabers this year. And I'll give Malik Nabers all the credit in the world. Malik Nabers, it was an incredible. I mean, he's definitely the offensive rookie of the year at the wide receiver position. He's won Brian Thomas Jr.'s too. And I think Marv will get there. But Malik Nabers was a good pick. But I don't know, man. I listened to his 14-year-old kid. His 14-year-old kid said, you're only going to be a GM one time. Trade up and get Jaden Daniels. Trade up and get Jaden Daniels. You're only going to have this job one time. Can you imagine being an NFL GM? I look at some of the moves GM is making in the NFL. Can you imagine being the NFL GM of the Buffalo Bills that traded Patrick Mahomes to the Chiefs? And every year, when you're 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes in the AFC title game or AFC divisional round? Can you imagine being that general manager? Seriously, I want you to think hard and strong about that GM watching Patrick Mahomes win 3 Super Bowls already and on his way to competing for a 4th. Yeah, you traded. You traded that pick to Kansas City. You put the ball in motion for that to happen. Can you imagine being a general manager of a football team and being scared to make the aggressive move? You're only going to be a GM one time, if you're lucky. You got to take that opportunity. And Joe Schoen's made every wrong move. People can congratulate him for the Malik Neighbors pick, and it's not a bad pick. It's a good pick. But you kind of screwed that up, didn't you? Jayden Daniels could be your quarterback. Well, now let's give Jayden Daniels his credit. Let's take a step forward and give Jayden Daniels, JD5, his credit. He was not bad yesterday. Let's be clear. 55-23 is not on Jayden Daniels. 20 of 28, 246, 1 touchdown. 29 of 48, 255, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 6 carries, 48 yards, so over 300 all-purpose, 2 touchdowns. He took 3 sacks in the game, 1 interception. And I will talk about the interception for a second. I'll talk about that. They're down. They're down to their last shot. He took a shot, threw a ball to his best receiver. Quinyon Mitchell made a play. I don't blame him for that at the end of the game. That's desperation. That's like giving somebody interception for a Hail Mary. It was a shot that needed to be taken. It was a shot that needed to be had. Jayden Daniels played a good football game this year. Versus the number 1 defense in football, they put up 350 all-purpose yards. No Yak Zach had 11 catches for 104 yards. Terry McLaurin broke away from Darius Slay for a 36-yard touchdown. It's not Jayden Daniels' fault that the defense could not stop Philadelphia and that they fumbled the ball 3 times. You cannot fumble they had 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers to 0. You're not going to win football games that way. You're not. You're not. You know the meme. You're not. Not going to win football games that way. Jayden Daniels had, in my opinion, the best rookie year you could ever have at the quarterback position. No rookie's ever made it to the Super Bowl. 4 have made it to the conference championship game, and 4 have failed. I don't put that on Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels going into Detroit and playing an almost flawless game and beating the number 1 seed, incredible. Jayden Daniels going on the road to Tampa Bay. Jayden Daniels taking a 4-win Washington team to the NFC title game. The future's bright down there in Washington, D.C. But as I told a couple friends of mine that are Commanders fans, the future is great. The future isn't now. The future is not the present. If you're a Commanders fan, you should not be hanging your head this morning. I mean, granted, a lot of them came into Philadelphia, and I never get the concept of dressing up the Rocky statue. I never get it. Never understand it. It doesn't work out for anyone. No one's ever done it and be like, we were the guys that did it. And, I guess I'll use this Wednesday for You Gotta Be Kidding Me, but I'll let you guys know now. It will be my You Gotta Be Kidding Me. They're posting videos at the Hard Rock Cafe in Philadelphia saying they're taking over the city. They're taking over the Hard Rock Cafe. Guys, I'm from Philadelphia for 39 years. I swear to God, I didn't even know we had a Hard Rock Cafe. Had no idea. I've been to almost every crevice in Philadelphia. I had no idea. I didn't know where you could, where's the Hard Rock Cafe? I don't know. That'd be like saying we took over a local diner that no one knew about. You didn't take over the city. You didn't take over the stadium. You came to Philadelphia. You got BTA, belts to asses. And a lot of those videos, dressing up the Rocky statue is just, I'll never understand that. I'll never fully understand why teams do that. Minnesota was the first one to do it. They came into Philadelphia, and then I'll never forget the week afterwards, the crying that ensued about what they were, hey, we were treated so poorly in Philadelphia. You came here saying, I'm not scared, I'm ready for a fight, and then cried all the way home as we dressed. You dressed up our front porch. We dressed up your house for Super Bowl 52. And the whole week, all they did was cry about the way they were treated. Don't come into enemy territory and disrespect my front lawn. I'm sorry. Do I think some Eagles fans are idiots? Yeah, of course. Go watch some of the videos online. Idiots are shooting guns in the air. Idiots are, oh my God, they're falling off the, they're climbing up street signs and falling off. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of morons in the city of Philadelphia. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there's guys that make the right decisions. This is the truth, right? I don't want to be this guy. I was offered front row tickets, 50-yard line, 50-yard line, front row last week to the Rams game. I said no. Free. No money. I said no. 2 reasons. I can't be around drunk idiots. I can't do it. I can't be around drunk idiots that do things like what that moron did to the Packers fans 2 weeks ago. And I can't, I overanalyze the game. I can't listen to someone say, like if a defense is running cover 2 and a cornerback gets beat over the top, and I know it's the safety's job to be there, and the safety gets there late. Oh, that cornerback sucks. Well, they're running cover 2. He doesn't suck. Or if they're running cover 3 and the safety gets beat down the seam, because that's where you attack cover 3, is in the seams. And you talk about, oh, well, the nickel cornerback blew that coverage. I can't do that. And then the third reason, and probably the most important reason, is I wasn't missing Bills versus Ravens. Wasn't going to miss the game. Wasn't going to miss it. Bills versus Ravens was a great football game. Bills versus Chiefs was a great football game. Jeff Perone, I see you in the chat. I want to address this. This is the next part of my conversation. NFL Rule 12, Section 3, Article 4, palpably unfair acts. Listen, I don't like Frankie Louvu. Think he's a cheap shot artist. Think he's a dirty player. I've said that numerous times. If he was a Philadelphia Eagle, I'd love him. And if you're an Eagles fan and can't admit that, I don't know what to tell you. I sit at home all the time thinking, how would I try to stop the tush push? You know what I would do? I would dive headfirst at the quarterback, try to time the snap count. Give me 15. You're going to get it anyway, especially on the goal line. I would dive headfirst into the quarterback. I would. Call it what you want. If I was trying to stop the tush push, there's no way I would just let that go, let that fly. I would try to find a way to stop the tush push, especially when it's for a touchdown. All sides get you what? Half the distance. You're already on the 1 yard line. As an Eagles fan, you have to understand that's going to happen when you have a quarterback that can squat over 500 pounds. Teams are going to try to find ways to stop that. I give them all the credit in the world for trying. Frankie Louvu plays his ass off. He plays hard. And as an Eagles fan, can't stand him. But I say the same thing about Frankie Louvu that I say about Jared Verse. During the football game, Cannot stand them. Afterwards, have to respect them. Have to respect them. And if you're an Eagle fan that can't admit that, you need to take off the green goggles. I'm not saying you are, Jeff. I'm saying that as an Eagle fan, if you can't admit that you would like to have a person like that on your football team, I don't know what to tell you. I want them on my football team. I'll take Frankie Luvu. I'll take Jared Verse. I took Jeremy Shockey back in the day. Guys that you love to play or love to play for you, hate to play against. Those are those guys. The Commanders have, once again, I'll end this part here. The Commanders do not have to hang their head on anything. They've done it. They did an incredible job this year. They well exceeded expectations. They developed players. Cliff Kingsbury did a great job developing Jaden Daniels. Dan Quinn did a great job helping that defense become a tough, hard-nosed defense. They were missing Deron Payne. Jonathan Allen is an absolute problem in the interior. They lack edge rushers. They do. They need to address that this offseason. Frankie Luvu, a great young talent. Bobby Wagner, the old guard, might have played his last football game yesterday. Great, tough-nosed football player. You go out and get Marshawn Lattimore, who, by the way, he really can't defend. He's kind of cooked, but he plays hard. He plays hard. He's kind of cooked, though. The guy can't defend anyone without interfering with them. Just can't do it. It's been for years. Marshawn Lattimore is just too handsy, too physical. He's Al Harris that lost a step. Sorry. See, what do you have? You have Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl. I'm warning you guys. I'm warning everyone out there. Yesterday morning, I went to grab breakfast, and I'm sitting there next to a group of two guys sitting next to each other, and like, I'm going to bet on the Bills today and the under on Jalen Hurts passing yards. And I'm like, you're falling right into what Vegas wants you to do. All you had to do was check where the money was. I'm a smart man. I follow football probably more than anybody you've listened to. But I know I'm not as smart as Vegas. And when I seen that spread was 6 or opened up at 5, and 67% of the money was on the Commanders, and it moved up to 6, some places 6.5, I'm like, oh man, this is the Vegas 2-step if I've ever seen it. They're telling you the Eagles are going to win this football game and cover. And the same goes for the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills. 70% of the money was on the Buffalo Bills yesterday. I'll tell you, the real winner yesterday, it wasn't the Eagles. It wasn't the Chiefs. It was Las Vegas, because they made money hand over foot. Jeff says, I don't like that they did it 4 straight plays. They were jumping off sides intentionally. Luvu even hit Hurts in the helmet on one of them. Hurts on the third time anticipated Luvu and backed off before Luvu made contact. As an Eagle fan, I don't expect you to like it, Jeff. I don't. But as a Commander fan or as an NFL fan, you have to understand that teams are going to try anything they can to get the Philadelphia Eagles riled up on that play. You time it perfectly. He fumbles the snap. You could change the football game. If you don't time it perfectly, they get no yards. They get like a couple inches forward. They're going to score if you don't time it perfectly. You got to take your shot. Take your shot somewhere. Give them credit where credit's due. Got to give them credit. You got to give them credit where credit's due. They took a shot. Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. It is going to be I'll make this very clear. Eagles fans, Chiefs fans, Chiefs fans are tired of hearing about the officials. Eagles fans are going to blame the officials all 2 weeks, talk about it's rigged and blah, blah. I don't think it's rigged. I don't think the NFL is rigged. But it's the same thing I will say to you that I said during the Patriots dynasty. To be the champion, you have to beat the champion. You cannot leave that game up to chance. I'll take you back to Super Bowl just 2 years ago. You left it in the hands of the officials. They made a call. Was it a terrible call? Was it one of the worst calls you'll ever see with James Bradbury getting called for the only defensive holding in the entire game on a very slight tug? Absolutely. But in order to beat Patrick Mahomes and in order to beat the Chiefs, you can't leave it up to chance. You cannot leave it up to the officials. They are going to get the benefit of the doubt. They are going to get every single knick-knack, ticky-tack play. If you touch Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, if you hit him a little bit late, they're going to get it. They've earned that. The Philadelphia Eagles need to play 4 quarters of smash mouth football. And they have to protect the ball, number one. And they have to be prepared 100% for the blitz of Steve Spagnuolo. Kellen Moore, you want a head coaching job? You want to show that you're a head coach? You want to show that you're a top coordinator in football? This is your opportunity. You go up there and beat a Steve Spagnuolo-led defense. You counteract that blitz. That offensive line is strung together right now with Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. Hopefully the week off helps both of them. Cam Jurgens with the back issue, Landon Dickerson with the knee issue. Those guys are warriors to play through what they played through. Jeff Stoutland will have those offensive line boys ready. Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Mekhi Becton, Cam Jurgens. You got to figure out a way. And by the way, Saquon Barkley was incredible at blitz protection pickup. There was multiple times where he picked up Frankie Louvu as the free blitzer, the free runner, and absolutely stopped him. Absolutely shut him down. So I'll leave it there. We'll obviously have multiple times to break down the Super Bowl. Sideline to sideline, we'll talk about some other stuff. Breaking down this game, the new coaching in the NFL, some news that's happened around the league. We'll talk about that. I'm going to leave my Super Bowl predictions out to the sideline by sideline that happens Thursday before the Super Bowl. So next Thursday. I do have to address one other thing that happened in sports, and I hope I don't lose any of you guys, but it's news. And I'm going to consistently cover the WNBA when I can, because I want to be able to give them their opportunity to shine. The Aces, Sparks, and Storm made an incredible big trade. Huge trade. The Aces, who are multi-time champions, went out and got Jewell Loyd. Jewell Loyd is in her prime. She's a great player from the Seattle Storm. She was not fitting in fully with Skylar Diggins, and she's now going to play with A'ja Wilson. And this is her former, not former, but just recently, Olympic teammate Jewell Loyd and A'ja Wilson will be on the same team. Kelsey Plum, who's the young rising star for the Aces, is now going to be on the Sparks. The Sparks traded their number 2 pick. They wanted to be number one. When they didn't get the number 1 overall pick, the Sparks were looking to move on from that pick. I mean, listen, it's a Paige Bueckers draft. That's what it is. Paige Bueckers or bust in this draft. It's almost like last year's draft. Now, Angel Reese has been incredible, but it was Caitlin Clark or bust. It's Paige Bueckers or bust. So you pair Kelsey Plum with, arguably one of the best rookies last year before she got hurt, and Cameron Brink. And you have Kelsey Plum, Cameron Brink, and you still have a top 10 pick. The Sparks are going to rebuild quick. They're going to get the number 9 pick from Seattle. Now, if you're a Storm fan, the WNBA, listen, the WNBA is going to have a lot of big drafts in the upcoming future. Paige Beckers is going to be the number 1 pick for the Dallas Wings. But now the LA Sparks have traded this pick to Seattle, and Seattle has a choice of a few players that can fit into that number 2 spot. And there's a power forward out of USC that I think could be a perfect fit next to Cameron Brink and Kiki. And I'll tell you right now, this girl can play basketball. You pair her, sorry, not next to Cameron Brink, but you pair her with Skylar Diggins. I don't know, man. I think it's a good trade for everyone. I think it's a great trade for everyone. I think all teams made out. I think the Aces made out for a championship run and getting Asia Wilson, an Olympic teammate, and Jewel Lloyd. I think Rickea Jackson and Cameron Brink and Kelsey Plum are going to be a nice big 3 in LA. And I think Seattle is going to rebuild around Skylar Diggins and get her a nice power forward, a nice, forward in this draft to be able to play amongst for that guard forward combo. It's a fun trade. Giving the Sparks exactly what they needed at guard. And Troy, you say this is perfect. I love that you bring this up because the Sparks were all in on trying to get Paige. And when they couldn't, they made the decision to go out and get Kelsey Plum. And if you don't know how good Kelsey Plum is, I want you to think about whose record Caitlin Clark just broke. I don't think Kelsey Plum is Caitlin Clark, but she's not far behind. She's not crazy behind. She's an absolute scorer. Cameron Brink, rim defender. Rickea Jackson, a 2-way player. Sparks are going to be a good basketball team this year. The Sparks are going to be ready to play. And maybe not this year. Maybe next year. It might take them a full year of this big 3 playing together. But they'll be competitive again. I'd love to see the extra moves that happen in this WNBA offseason. I'll tell you right now, I love Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever need to absolutely go out and get Caitlin Clark some help. Aaliyah Boston is a great start. Kelsey Mitchell re-signing there would be a great follow-up. It's not enough. It's not. That Liberty team with Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu and Jonquel Jones, they are a team that is, they're going to be good for years to come. Not just this year, not just next year. They have it. You got to go out there and take it. It's not just them. The Connecticut Sun, great basketball team. They're going to be there. You need enough to be able to beat these teams. Connecticut, New York, Las Vegas, LA. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Minnesota. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. How to talk about that trade that snuck in on Championship Sunday. It's a good trade. We'll obviously talk about more during the week. But, and by the way, if you're not a fan of women's basketball, I'll tell you, go watch the LSU South Carolina college basketball game. And I'll listen, as much as I don't like LSU coach Kim Mulkey, she is so polarizing that it's great for the sport of college basketball. She gets in that press conference. I never coached against 10 McDonald's All-Americans. She's playing the super team and building her team up, and I love it. Dawn Staley, best recruiter in college basketball. No doubt about it. It's no longer Gino. It's Dawn. Because Gino will get the girl. He'll get the number one player in the country in Paige Beckers. South Carolina will get 8 out of the next 13. That's what they do. And they get girls that play team basketball, that play complementary basketball, that play defense first basketball. Women's basketball is on the rise. And I got news for you. The way the NBA has been running, and don't take this the wrong way, guys. I'm an NBA fan first. I love NBA. I love the NBA. But the way the NBA has been running recently with this just absolute 3-ball NBA, it's not what it needs to be. It's not as good as it should be. The NBA needs to change some rules. They need to get some things together. They need to get a lot together. The NBA is in trouble, boys. I appreciate everyone tuning in to Wire to Wire, Coffee and Sports in the morning. I appreciate everyone in the chat, from Jeff to Cottrell. Appreciate you guys listening over on National Streaming Sports. I appreciate you guys listening on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. I appreciate you, John Mathis. But make sure you tune in to all the great coverage of Wire to Wire Network, including tonight. We got something to go in tonight. We got something to go over tonight. We have a new show on the rise for Wire to Wire Network. A lot of people don't know this. Wire to Wire made some signings. Wire to Wire made some signings. We have a Monday night show, the Sports Report podcast. Now, if you've listened to Coffee and Sports in the morning, you've heard Will talk. Will is awesome. Great guy. He has a great show. If you've not heard of it yet, the Sports Report will be coming to Wire to Wire Network tonight at 10 p.m. It's a late night show. This isn't for your kids. It's a little bit more of a, you might hear a curse word or two, but you can check it out on the national sports streaming services on Roku. You can check us out on Wire to Wire Network. And, tomorrow night, Meaty Boys. Wednesday night, Wire to Wire Network Sports Podcast. Thursday night, you got Birds Deep Sideline to Sideline. Friday night, maybe a UFC show might be coming back. Saturday, you get your final show Coast to Coast this season. We are growing, and we are growing with your help. Love you guys always. Love everything you do. And thank you for tuning in this morning. I'm the NFL Genius, Gene Walzak, and I am signing out. Take care, y'all.